This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, and Matt Allen, who's normally here with me, is on vacation. So today I am your KTAR car guy. Bumper to Bumper Radio is heard every Saturday from 11 to noon right here on KTAR. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we're helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. So if you've got car questions, I've got car answers. So I encourage you to give me a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And I brought in Joel Bartko again from Arizona Imports to help me help you with the car. And today on the Bumper to Bumper Road Map, we're going to be giving you a car tip of the week. You don't want to miss this one. And open phones and text and mechanic in a bottle. Joel, mechanic in a bottle. Do you know any?
Oh, I love the mechanic in the bottle, Dave. A
lot
of mechanics in the bottle.
I'm a little worried that he's going to put me out of business. But where this comes from is I was getting my physical therapy on my shoulder this Thursday, and my physical therapist, she said, you do a car show, right? Yeah, I do a car show. She said, can I ask you a question? Yeah, sure, no problem. What's going on? Well, my car's doing this thing where it, revs up and revs down and revs up and revs down, and especially when I'm turning the car or come up to a stop, and I went to my mechanic, and he said to put some fuel system additive in there, and it'd be all good. Well, I did, and it seemed to get better, but it's back. It's still doing it. And I think a little of that seemed to get better is a little bit of a placebo, Is it better? I don't know. Can you tell? And so she put the mechanic in a bottle. That's what I call some of the additives, because they never fix problems. So anyway, I said, bring the car down. You bring it in the morning. I'll drive you back to work. We'll check it out, and then I'll pick you up. And so that's what we did. And what it ended up being, we cleaned her mass airflow sensor. We cleaned her throttle body, and that resolved the issue at this time. We cleared some of the computer, the adaptives in there, and we said, hey, if this comes back, we know what it is. You have a bad throttle body. But that mechanic in the bottle would have never fixed that. And so, Joel, what mechanics in the bottle work and what don't? And when I'm referring to a mechanic in the bottle, I mean that amazing stuff you can pour in your gas tank or pour in your radiator or pour in whatever.
The fuel cleaners and the stop leaks and get your more power and more gas mileage. Very rarely do any of them ever work. It's basically taking your money and throwing it out. There are some additives you can put in your fuel tank. I tend to think of them more as vitamins. They don't fix anything. You'd want to be more of a preventative thing. Stuff that's available to consumers at like the auto parts stores, none of that really ever fixes anything. And my advice to people, stay away from anything that says stop leaks, stop this, stop that, because it's going to stop a leak in your system. It's going to cost you more money and more trouble later as it begins to clog up other passageways.
So there's different types of additives, and you got right to the point there. There's stop leaks, and that covers just about all of them. We got transmission stop leak. We got radiator stop leak. We've got air conditioner system stop leak. What stop leaks am I missing?
Tire stop leak.
Well, tire stop leak, that actually comes with your roadside kit. Some of these vehicles that have a roadside kit from the factory that come with the car. So that's one that I could see the benefit of.
Stop leak in a tire is a good thing if you get stuck on the side of the road and it gets you home, but then you have to have it cleaned out afterwards.
And it really should be done immediately. You don't want to leave that stuff in there. It's going to cause other problems.
Exactly. It'll start eating up your tire inside. You never, ever want to put stop leak in your cooling system, your air conditioning system, in your engine oil, in your power steering system. I could tell you one quick thing. We had a Mercedes customer put stop leak in the power steering system. It needed a reservoir seal, which in our shop is about a $200 job. He wound up needing a new pump, a new rack, hoses and lines, about $4,000 because that chemical did not agree with the fluid in the Mercedes system.
So that's my thing is you can do so much more damage. I think in this case of the person I was talking about, it's pretty vanilla to throw some fuel additive in the tank, but what I don't like to see happen if the person prescribing doesn't know what they're prescribing, it may not be a good thing. And a stop leak, here we're talking about it's in the transmission stop leak. People go get stop leak or stop slip. They've got a transmission with a stop slip problem. They pull into the old auto parts store and they say, hey, this is my Nissan out here and it's transmission slipping. And so the guy walks over to the shelf and he pulls up this bottle and it says stop slip. You just put some of this in your transmission, you should be good to go. At least give it a try. Well, that particular customer had a CVT transmission, which that stuff wasn't even designed for. It didn't even fit it. And I'm just not a believer in stop slip.
I'm sure it stopped slipping after that because it probably stopped moving.
It stopped altogether. But you can take a simple problem, like you said, a pump seal or a reservoir seal, $200 repair, and make it a $2,000 repair
Especially
real
with
quick.
the vehicles we have now, very specific on the chemicals that they use as the fluids and stuff like that. There are some chemicals in a can that we use, a lot of professionals, mostly available to professionals, like for fuel injection, decarbing, which you need tools, equipment, and experience to install them in a car.
So that's not an additive, because I think of additives sometimes as something that Harry homeowner can install. It's not a big deal. But when you're pumping in fuel injector cleaner, in the fuel rail, that's not something Harry homeowner is going to do.
No, but putting they do sell Tectron, which comes in the Chevron gas. You can buy that. That's not a bad thing to put in your tank at all. It's not going to, again, fix any problem, but it may be a preventative, again, kind of like the vitamin theory. Taking a vitamin is going to help you. It's not going to hurt you usually.
Well, we got Carrie in studio, and Carrie and Joel are about the same age. And when I said, hey, we're going to be talking about mechanic in a bottle, what was the first thing that came to your mind? First additive.
STP.
STP. So that was a back in the day, engine oils weren't that good. Right? I mean, as compared to what they are today. And there wasn't, and you thought that was a valuable thing to add to the oil.
STP, yeah, it was thick. It used to thicken the oil up. These are cars from the 60s and 70s, and Richard Petty was the big guy pushing it back then.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know that, but I hardly know about STP because it's just not my generation. So we have oil additives. We've got, we talked about fuel injection additives, which some of those might be good maintenance items. I noticed we've gone to direct injection vehicles, more and more common. So Ford with their EcoBoost, a lot of these Hyundais and Kias got direct injection. And if you read in their owner's manual, if you're not using a top-tier fuel, they're recommending a fuel additive in the tank, and that's something the average consumer can buy and put in their tank every 7,000 miles, I believe, is what the recommendation is.
There's another thing that we're seeing on those direct injection cars, and Matt spoke about it before. Basically, you're getting a lot of carbon causing the rings to bind up, and they have additives that you have to add to do on the oil changes when you're doing the oil change. Again, that is a good thing. It's a preventative thing, but it's not something you're going to buy in the auto parts store.
So really, the point there is Matt and I took a trip down to XYZ Auto Parts one day, and we just went to the additive aisle, and it was overwhelming. And I think I counted like 120 different additives that you could put in your car, and most of them were garbage. And there's a percentage that are helpful. What do you think that percentage is? Out of those 120 bottles of schmooey,
I'd be guessing 3 to 5% maybe.
3 to 5% of them. Well, what's crazy though is that you are in the auto parts store, and you got this guy working there, and he takes you over to the counter, and he may be very knowledgeable, but there's some guys in there that aren't knowledgeable. The tough thing is if I'm not knowledgeable as a consumer, I'm going to know if he is or he isn't. He could be saying, oh yeah, look, this right here is what you need.
You're probably better off not spending your money on that stuff. The car's not going to like you any better, and it's really not going to fix anything.
Okay, but if you want to go to Costco, you were saying they sell that
the Tectron I see there, and I think that's a good thing to put in. I really do. I don't think it's going to hurt. I don't use it myself. If you're buying top-tier fuel, you're pretty much getting that.
But you don't use it. What are some other additives that you use on your own personal car? Let's just talk about that. What does the mechanic do?
The only additives I actually put in my own cars are on the services that we do with, and they're pretty much, I'm using BG products in my shop. And there's Wins and there's BGs, and they're professional stuff. I put the oil additives in for the direct injection car. I do the fuel injector cleaning decarbonization service, and I'm using the BG products on that. I'm not trying to push BG, but the professional stuff. I'm not selling the STPs and stuff. I was thinking about STP a second ago, and back then the idea was to thicken the oil up. Now in the year 2015, we want the thinnest oil we can have. We're using 0.15s and 0.20 oils for fuel economy. We do not want thick oil anymore.
The rules have completely changed. The way we used to think, I mean, and that's the problem is there's so much advice out there that's 20 or 30 years old that isn't good advice because it's it's not even relevant to today's cars. And we used to have carburetors. We don't have carburetors. We now have fuel injection. Joel, you and I always talk about this, and it's, could we take a technician from 1975, time port him up to 2015 and drop him in a shop? Would he know how to fix anything?
No, it's just like Back to the Future.
So anyway, when we come back, if you've got an additive question or anything in regards to your car, you can get a hold of us at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923. You're listening to Bumper Radio. We'll be right back. Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do.
Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions.
Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers.
If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere.
Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee.
Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
It sounds like they've just had the accurate automotive experience. We're family-owned and operated and have served the Mesa, Tempe, Gilbert communities for over 22 years. We focus on building long-lasting relationships and, oh yeah, listening to you so that we can understand, meet, and exceed your expectations. One location, 14 bays, 88 years of automotive expertise, and a passionate commitment to customer service and excellence. My name is Lee Weatherby, and I approve this message because it's true. We love what we do, and we want to do it for you. Accurate Automotive, the home of friends serving friends.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Fix it or forget it. This is the show that'll help you decide what to do with your car. Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio from Tri-City Transmission. Matt Allen from Virginia Auto Service is off today. So we've got Joel Bartko from Arizona Imports in to help you with your car. And I want to make an announcement, because in my mind I tend to think I'm a pretty big deal. But yesterday was my birthday.
Happy birthday, Dave.
See, I wanted Joel to say it. I had to have him say it. And you know what's crazy is I wasn't really sure what age I was going to be. I'm 38. I had to confirm that with my wife, but I thought it was actually 39 because I don't really think about that stuff.
I'm going on 39 soon.
You're going on 39. And everyone I tell, they say, yeah, no, that happens. That happens. You start forgetting how old you are. So I guess I'm in that category. That happens at 38 years old.
Senior moment.
It's definitely a senior moment.
You start forgetting a lot of things.
You got to see me park a car when I hit the curb a little too hard. I'm like, senior moment. And I do that. So anyhow, we've got Sonia, Sarah, and looks like Dee Dee and a couple open lines at 602-277-5827. We are going to go with Sonia in Peoria. It looks like she's got a 2003 Mercedes Compressor. How can we help you, Sonia? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Yes, good morning, and thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
It's a 2002, and I just purchased it from one owner, but he has no mechanical records on it. It rides good. I bought it with 155,000 miles on it. I've taken it to Tucson a couple of times, Yuma, Flagstaff with no issues. So I want to know what should be my next step on maintenance.
On maintenance for that car, and we talk a lot about this on the show, Joel, is that I would take that car to your trusted mechanic, and if you don't have one of those, you can find them at bumpertobumperradio.com. I'm not a person that's a big believer in being an orphan customer. In other words, you go, over here with a coupon because they got a deal on an oil change, and you go over here for this and over here for that. You can go to a shop like Joel's at Arizona Imports here in Peoria, so I'm going to recommend Dave Denman to you at Dave's Car Care. If you don't already have a shop, but go in there, and I don't want you to go get what I call a cursory inspection where they just kind of shine their flashlight through the wheels and they kind of look and see. You want a complete inspection on that vehicle from bumper to bumper. No pun there. Let's look at everything because we want to know everything that's going on with the car.
Yeah,
not because we got to fix everything. We just want to know what's there.
You don't know what's been done before. You'd like to know what condition the car's in and where you're at. This way you'd find out what's coming up soon, what's going on, and what actual shape it is, because nice car, and you want to make sure that, hey, you want to know if it's leaking oil or if it's going to need brakes or something soon. Better than just an oil change or free inspection, pay for a good shop to do a good, thorough look over the car just to let you know what's happening.
And that's one of the things, I started out, my first auto shop that I worked in was a tire shop, and I was the oil change guy. Okay, so I would pull the car in, and I had a little specific set of instructions. Pull the car in, this is how we set it on the hoist, and this is how we don't let the car fall off the hoist, real important stuff. But and these are the things I want you to look at. I want you to look at the battery, I want you to look at the shocks, and I want you to look at the brakes. And I never even knew how to check transmission fluid, but literally on a Saturday I would do 15 oil changes in my bay, plus some tires and some other things. And there was only so many things that I looked at. And so the person would go in the car, hey, here's my car, can you change the oil and give it a good look over? Well, if you had me at that time, I did not give you a good look over. I didn't really make any good recommendations other than what I checked and what we sold at that particular tire store, which was air filters and tires and brakes and shocks. But as far as anything else, we didn't really do it. And that's where I want people to get that paid inspection.
Absolutely. I mean, oil change people think of as a nothing, non-experienced type job. I put my top guys on those all the times, not for the oil change. It's for the inspection part of the car to see what's going on. Like Dave said, checking the transmission fluid, it's no longer pulling a dipstick. You have to have a scanner. You have to know the temperature of the car. You have to put the car in a lift. You need a tool to inject the fluid. The days of the 16-year-old oil change kid doing it in the parking lot are gone.
For sure. Well, thanks so much for the call, Sonia. 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923. We're going to go with Sarah, who's in Mesa. She's got a 2005 Nissan Titan. How can we help you, Sarah? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi. I had a question about the paint job on 05 Nissan Titans. They've faded ever since a couple years after we got it, and every 05 and 04 Nissan Titan that I see has the same faded paint job.
Do you know anything about that, Joel, as far as Nissan Titans?
Well, when I heard Nissan, I said, you're right in my wheelhouse, but with the paint job, you see that more in Arizona than anywhere else you're going to see. It's the clear coat just fading out on that car. Probably out in the sun. If you saw 5 that were kept in the garage, would probably look different. The UV rays in Arizona are so strong, they eat up that paint. I don't know of any particular problem with that year in that paint. Older GM cars had a lot of problems with paint, but that one I don't know.
I've seen different manufacturers at different times. They'll do something, they'll change something in the paint, and they'll have a rash of crummy paint jobs for a couple of model years. And I don't know the 05 Titan in particular that I've necessarily heard anything, but I was, back in the day, familiar with the GM thing.
Yeah.
And something changed in the paint back in that day. And
what you see mostly in Arizona, I see all the time the clear coat just coming off, baking off the car. I see it. My daughter had a Volkswagen. The whole roof turned to this white powder, just a clear coat come off.
And then we had Kevin from I-17 Collision on here maybe a month ago, and that's one of the things we talked about. You got to paste wax your car at least a couple times a year, and then you're gonna, because here this car's only 10 years old and it's all faded out, and it's a nice truck. We don't want it faded out. So don't when you go to the car wash and they say, well, you get the VIP and it includes wax in there. That's some sort of spray on wax that happens in the tunnel.
You really need a good cleaning, clay bar the car, and wax it at least twice a year with a good wax, or pay a detailer to do it correctly for you, or have a kid that's about 18 years old that knows how to do it. He can do it for you well, too.
Joel's staring at his son, Daniel, who's in here, and
he cleans my car.
He's always got wax in his car. I don't know, Joel. There might be laws against that. Anyway, thanks for the call, Sarah. 602-277-5827. We're going to go with, looks like, Dee Dee in Mesa, 2013 Dodge Journey. How can we help you? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I was just calling to see, I had a transmission question. I had the car at the dealership for some warranty work, and it was shifting really hard into third gear. Long drawn the story short, they replaced the entire transmission. I drove it off the lot, and it's still doing the same thing. So we're kind of at a loss right now. It's a brand new transmission. They told me it's a learning transmission, and I've never heard of that. I have no idea what's going on. If I'm just driving it wrong, I got a lead foot or something. I'm just kind of at a loss.
Well, it definitely is. It's a learning transmission, not like it goes to the library and reads books, but transmissions are adaptive. So, that computer in that vehicle has learned the old transmission. So it got used to the old transmission. Now we put a new transmission in there. What we do when we do that is we clear out all the memory, or what we call shift adaptation, so it adapts. So we clear all that out, and it's got to start over new. Usually those adaptations should happen probably, I would say, within 100 miles. I mean, it should be good to go. Joel, what do you think?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and I'm assuming this was under warranty by the way you spoke it. If
Yes.
it's not better in the next few days, just like Dave said, I think I'd go back to the dealership that did it and let them know, because they do learn. Everything learns now. Everything's adaptive. Maybe they didn't clear it out right. Maybe there's something else. It needs to be looked at right where you brought it. Bring it back.
And that's a big deal. We do, at Tri-City Transmission, we do, transmissions every week, and that's the thing that we have to do, because we put the transmission in, we go driving, and it drives terrible. We're like, oh, man, we must have done a bad job. Not really. But we know that we've got to drive the heck out of them, so we drive a car 3 times before we ever give it back to the customer, just to clear the adapts. And most of the time it feels pretty good by the time it leaves. But if they didn't drive it much, they put the transmission in, filled it up with fluid, and pulled it out and parked it in the parking lot, you're going to have some shifting problems.
You'd be surprised how many cars we fix nowadays, not just transmission, but drivability issues also, just by resetting all the adaptives.
Well, in my physical therapist, in that example, we cleaned her throttle body, we cleaned her mass airflow sensor, and then we wiped out the adaptives to get that thing going again. Then we drove it to see if the bad habit would come back, or if we actually fixed the problem. And that's the other thing with batteries. We talk about interstate battery all the time on this show, and a lot of shops that are doing a good job are checking your battery every time. When you got a battery that's just kind of weak, just below the threshold, it still starts the car. One of the problems is it creates weird problems because those adaptive values get wiped out every night, and the car's got to be driven and relearn them the next day. And so we fight these hard problems. So anyway, when we come back, we got open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277 KTAR. You're listening to Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. Have you been thinking maybe the time is right to move, but you're not sure if you have enough equity in your home or if it really is a good time? Well, home values have increased significantly over the past few years, and interest rates are still historically low. For how long? No one knows. But for every 1% increase in the interest rate, the result is about a 10% loss in purchasing power. So it might be a really great time to sell your home and either upsize or downsize to a new home while the interest rates are still low. Contact me via my website at lisareneehenry.com or direct at 480-330-9530 for a no-obligation market valuation on your home and to hear about our global online marketing plan designed to sell your home quickly for top dollar. Again, that's lisareneehenry.com, 480-330-9530. Come experience the difference a truly customer-focused real estate agent can make.
Great Golf just got a new name. Formerly known as Tagava, the newly renamed Verde River Golf and Social Club is now open. Hi, this is Greg Ellis of the Bunker to Bunker Golf Show with even more exciting news. Shea Holmes announces the grand opening of Trilogy at Verde River. Bordered by the Tonto National Forest just east of North Scottsdale, this is the latest addition to Trilogy's award-winning master plan resort community portfolio. Grand opening celebration is this weekend, October 24th and 25th. For more information, go to trilogylife.com.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20+ years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service.
Here's what Carrie from Tempe had to say about her experience with Good Works Auto Repair.
As soon as you realize, I need to get some work done on my car, I'm sure the thought occurs to you that you're about to get taken for a ride. I used to share the same sentiment and wondered if the shop was going to make something up and have me spending hundreds of dollars instead of $30 I was planning on for a simple oil change. This is one of the reasons I will only go to Good Works Auto Repair. Because I trust them. Putting trust in an auto shop didn't come easily. It's been built over several visits with them doing exactly what was needed, not coercing me into unnecessary work. Ask them for an oil change and a safety inspection, they do just that. No baloney, list of filters, belts, and whatchamacallits that need replacing on my new car. Thank you, Good Works Auto Repair, for being there for me when I need you.
Appreciate the kind words. It's always a pleasure. Glenn Hayward here. Come experience what award-winning auto service should be. Good Works Auto Repair in Tempe, or visit us at goodworksautorepair.com.
Who can you trust here in the Valley to repair your ride? This is Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Matt Allen from Virginia Auto Service, who's normally with me, is out. So I've got Joel Bartko from Arizona Imports, who's a good friend of mine. He owns Arizona Imports, which is right down the street from me at Tri-City Transmission in Tempe. Our major cross routes would be McClintock and Rio Salado. Joel, how many years have you been up there?
I've been over there about 14 years now, Dave.
14 years. Now, it's Arizona Imports. When you bought it, they worked on mostly, was it Asian imports at that time?
He started out fixing air-cooled Volkswagens forever, and then he got into Toyotas, mostly Asian imports. I got heavy-duty into European imports like Audis, Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes. We do all kinds of European and Asian and domestics. Here to serve you anytime we can.
Well, the one thing is I'll pull past your shop, and there'll be nothing but Ford trucks in your parking lot. And I know you do a lot of work for some of those government vehicles, and I pull in, I walk in, and I say, it says imports out there. It's hardly appropriate.
A lot of my customers over the years said to me, hey, I got a Suburban. So I wound up bringing in, we bring in a domestic guy who's really good with those, and we do a lot of that. And, you know, I'm in a group with a lot of guys in the Bumper to Bumper group that if we need a help from someone, we always get it. I consider Dave and Matt personal friends, always help us. We help them. It's a good group. Need help on your car? Check out Bumper to Bumper.
Well, you can find Joel at Bumper. The website is Bumper to Bumper Radio. That's 2 as in T-O. And there's a list of shops all over the valley. Those are shops that Matt and I believe in and are happy to send you there. And we'd send family there. There's shops where the owner is active in the business, so it's not shops where you're talking to a guy at the counter that doesn't really know or care, it's just a job and he's just a number. These are family type of businesses, and I know that word family is overused in advertising, but this is the real deal. So you can find Arizona Imports there, but no matter what part of town, there's a lot of great shops you'll find on there. We've got Mark, and we've got Scott, and we've got Flo, but up first this segment, we're going to go with Jenny in Casa Grande. She's got a 2003 Toyota Tundra. How can we help you, Jenny? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I have a Toyota Tundra 03. It's got 212,000 miles on it. I just had about $1,000 and some worth of work on replacing a whole bunch of belts, timing belt, serpentine belt, water pump, etc. And then this is a dealer in Tucson, and then they tell me I have a cracked transmission mount and a front lower control arm torn bushings in those, and the labor for the mount, which I sort of understand, is $119, and the torn bushings are the labor's $600. I mean, the labor's $400 and something, and the parts are $600. Charging me $1,014 for torn bushings. And I'm like, is that reasonable? And what are torn bushings? Because I don't know.
Well, the bushings are in your suspension, and that's what's going to keep your control arm stable. With 200,000 miles on a Tundra, which on a Tundra that's not even high mileage nowadays, that's a common repair. Transmission mount labor sounds about right to me. That's probably about an hour. You don't need to be at a dealer. Any good independent shop could do that work for you, probably for considerably less using the same parts. But that is stuff that would wear out on a car like that. When you do control arm bushings, you're going to need a wheel alignment afterwards. But I would have them check the entire front end when they're doing that, so you don't have to find out you need another bushing or another ball joint later and have to get another alignment.
Well, so on a repair like that, and that's the thing that Matt always preaches, is that while you're there, is there anything else I should be doing? In other words, you're already working on my front end, and I think for a lot of people, and especially on a Toyota, the thing probably went 200,000 miles without even breaking or needing anything, and all of a sudden it needs something. It's like, oh man, do I really need this? These things they're mechanical things, and they are going to wear out. Some wear out faster than others. But at some point, it is going to need a transmission mount. It is going to need engine mounts. We've talked about engine and transmission mounts on the show before. I would say typically, as a rule of thumb, they last anywhere from 80 to 120,000 miles. They're going to fail somewhere within that window. Now, depending on how you drive, if you're real easy to the car and you're good to it, those things may go 200,000 miles.
Dave, cars are better than they ever were. And things don't break as much as they used to, but the cars we work on are much older now with much higher mileage, so we're fixing stuff, but it's just not it's less frequent than it ever was.
Now, you made a point there when you were talking to Jenny's situation that she doesn't necessarily have to go to the dealer. You implied that there is some sort of cost savings if she's not at a dealer. And I would, some people are dealership customers, some people are independent customers. I think it's a little bit of flavor. But one of the things I hear on a regular basis from people is that, I'm having a problem getting my car fixed. Should I just take it to the dealer? Because maybe they're not having good luck with the shop. And maybe they're working with a shop that doesn't necessarily know what they're doing. But there's not a guy, Joel, in your shop that couldn't walk into the dealership and have a job there tomorrow.
Dave, I worked in a dealer for over 20 years. I did all kinds of stuff. And you said something earlier about family. I consider my shop a family-style shop. A lot of the shops on your list are family shops. I think the difference is maybe not that the husband and wife are working there, but someone there cares. The guy at the front counter, be it me, be it Dave, be it Matt, be it Glenn from Good Works. When there's a problem, they're there to talk and settle the problem out for you. The work you're doing, especially on a 2002 Tundra, a good independent shop with good technicians fix that for you. I think you'd get a better job for less money personally.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily overall, but yeah, there's good dealerships and there's a mix of all and what the situation.
Absolutely, in any business, yes.
I've got a good friend who would never bring his car to my shop just because he's got a guy at the dealership that he feels like does exactly what you said, Joel. He cares about him and all that, and his wife bakes him lasagnas when she goes in there and that stuff. But that's actually pretty rare for the dealership, and I think he just happened to have get a relationship with a winner guy there years ago who stuck around. So anyhow, thanks so much for the call, Jenny. We are going to go with, it looks like Scott in Phoenix, 06 Dodge SRT Charger. I wouldn't mind having one of those. Hey, Scott, you're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. How can we help you?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. A couple quick questions. So I have about 65,000 miles on my Charger. It's the second car, so it's about 10 years old. Last summer I took it to, or last summer I took it to the dealership. I have a great relationship. There's only one mechanic works on my car. Changed all the fluids, tranny differential, brakes, power steering, and coolant, so I did everything flushed. So I had a question on my serpentine belt and my upper and lower hoses on my radiator. They said at 10 years old, even though it's 65,000, I don't see any cracks on the serpentine or the hoses are hard, and I didn't know if I should proactively, because of the age, change those out, peace of mind, or I really don't want to do it reactively. So I wanted to get your take on that. And then the other quick question is, on my recirculate button on my air conditioner, when you turn it on, the light comes on and off, but I don't sense that flap that lets the outside air in is going, because typically when you turn it on, you get a big surge of air, and nothing happens. The light goes on and off, but I'm not getting any surges of air, fresh air. So I didn't know if there's any kind of easy fix without taking apart my dash, because I'm not going to do that. So that was my question.
Well, on the radiator hoses and the belts, at 10 years, I would definitely go ahead and change them. Radiator hoses go bad from the inside out. They don't rot from the outside anymore. That even though they're 10 years old, 65,000 miles is not a lot of miles at all, but 10 years in the desert heat, that's a lot. Serpentine belt, nowadays the rubber doesn't crack that much more, the grooves wear. I would definitely replace the belt. It's inexpensive. It's 10 years old. On the air conditioning, usually when you hit the recirc, you should hear the volume of air pick up. turn it off, it goes down. If it's not moving, you might be right there. You'd have to have somebody look. A lot of those cars, I can't tell on that one without seeing it. You can look inside the cabin filter, take out the glove box, look in the cabin filter, or how the dealership would do that, obviously. They can see that door move or not. They're usually motor actuated on those. Usually when they go bad, the light flashes or they click, but everyone's different.
Well, that sounds real good, Joel. I think you're on the money. You said a lot of things there. I want to slow it down a little bit for everybody, so I broaden it out a little bit. There's some people out there that believe that hoses should be replaced every 8 years or 80,000 miles, kind of irregardless. And that's where the judgment comes in, and what his comfort level is. If you're one of those guys that, is going to sleep with one eye open because you got older hoses on your car, just replace the hoses. They are, like Joel said, they're over 10 years old. It's not a waste of money. If you're going to have the car for another 10 years, it's money well spent, whether you wait a year longer or not. So those are kind of rule of thumbs, is 8 years and 80,000 miles is rule of thumbs. But it doesn't mean, I see cars where the hoses, they look great, they feel great. I can't really tell, like you say, what's going on the inside, but I might let them ride if we need to put food on the table. It's not the most important thing going. But, that's that situation. And then the other thing on the serpentine belt, Joel, you said, in the old days we used to count cracks per inch. So 20 cracks per inch, put a new belt on it. They don't even crack anymore.
Now we have a little plastic gauge that measures the thickness of the ribs on them. Things are good and you can't tell. Certain things, like they said, I wouldn't lose sleep over the hoses right now, but you seem to care about the car. It's 10 years old. Why not? I wouldn't stop. I had a guy yesterday, his brake fluid was leaking, and he told me, well, can I just add? And I said, no, that's something you can't keep going. You need to fix that today. I said, your radiator's ready to go, but maybe you can hold a month or two on that. But certain things are today, and certain things you can do as you're ready.
Well, thanks so much for the call, Scott. 602-277-5827, 602-277 KTAR. We've got Mark in Flo and room for some more. We're going to go ahead and go with Mark in Coolidge on a 2008 Ford Taurus. How can we help you, Mark? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys. Thanks. 2008 Ford Taurus, just under 100,000 miles. It's got known, that model, I guess, has known tranny problems. Been reading all the comments on the internet. Guys, what I just don't want to do is get into going to the dealer or a shop where I'm just like they're experimenting. Now, you guys probably know that it has that there are problems there. But it's kind of hesitating on the shifting, and it gets to a certain speed, and if you're not up, accelerating, you get to that certain range there, 20, 30 miles an hour, and it starts kind of like sputtering and shifting and kind of like going, clicking back and forth like it's sputtering. I don't know how else to say it. There's a kind of a road I travel quite a bit that's kind of got an S-turn in it, and when you're making that bank, it really sputters a lot, and then it straightens out, and it goes away, and then you make that other turn, and it sputters again. The way I know that it's a tranny is got like an overdrive button on the shifter, and when I click that thing off where it's not an overdrive, it'll go away and it won't do it.
All right, Mark. I think I know how to answer your question. And this is common, and a lot of people say the reason I know it's a transmission problem is because I click the overdrive button and it goes away. Well, that just simply means your car's misfiring. And in a lot of cases, and I can't say for sure in this case, but when I changed, I take it from fourth gear, I turn off the overdrive button, I took it out of fourth gear and I put it in third gear, which raised the RPM of the engine, and now the engine is at a different state. So we've affected two things in a sense, not just the transmission. So you can read on the internet, and we're going to answer this a little bit more after the break because I'd like to talk more about it, but we got to go to break. So when we come back, you're listening to Bumper Radio.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we've been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Ouch! Being out of tune is no fun, and maybe even a little painful. Hi, this is Lee Weatherby. owner of Accurate Automotive in Mesa. At Accurate, we are a family-owned and operated one-stop automotive repair shop that specializes in building long-term relationships that are in tune with your needs, not ours. We've been recognized nationally as one of the top shops in the country, but for over 20 years, our priority has stayed focused on providing quality automotive service and repair at a fair price. I invite you to come in and see the difference an in-tune relationship can make for you and your car. With our free courtesy inspection, a $49 value, we feel it is well worth our investment in you because we believe good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out online at AccurateAutomotiveAZ.com today.
Trust. It's hard to earn and sometimes even harder to find. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is celebrating over 20 years of award-winning service at the corner of 7th Street and Virginia. Recognized as one of the best service shops in the country, their customers have come to trust Virginia Auto Service for its A+ rating by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranties, and free transportation to and from your home or office. 20-plus years of earning your trust. Virginia Auto Service. They're serious about service.
Few cities are as car-centric as Phoenix, and this is the show that'll help you to better understand that machine you depend on to get around the valley. It's Bumper to Bumper Radio. KTAR News on 92.3 FM and the KTAR app for Android and iPhone.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio on Dave Riccio's birthday weekend. See, I try and stretch. My birthday was on Friday. I might as well stretch it out Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's kind of like Father's Day weekend. I tell my wife, it's Father's Day weekend. It's not Father's Day. It's Father's Day weekend. Anyhow, before the break, we were talking to Mark in Coolidge, and I wanted to point this out because he thought it sounded like he had a transmission problem. And I'll have people describe transmission problems to me over the phone maybe like 20, 30 times a day. So it's not the first one I've ever heard. But when they say things like sputtering or stuttering, as a technician, I'm already going down the route of, transmissions don't stutter, and that's engine misfire. And that's what I'm thinking. But this is how it works for consumers that don't know. They go on the Internet and they go, I know my car has transmission problems. Everything you find on the Internet, you'll think, if you got a Toyota and you think I got a transmission problem, and you go type in transmission problem Toyota,
you'll find the forum for it.
And you're going to think, oh my gosh, I have the only special car that has transmission problems. It doesn't matter. Just go, as an experiment, go type in transmission problem on any vehicle, and you're going to think, oh my gosh, I got the car with the worst transmission. But on your Ford Taurus, you may not have a transmission problem, and I'm not even going that way from what you described. But it's like WebMD. Sometimes I go on there, and I tend to be a little bit of a hypochondriac, and I get on there, and I got shoulder pain, and I'm going through all this stuff, and I completely misdiagnose myself all the time. I go to the doctor, he goes, no, those are just trigger points. You need a little of this, that, or the other. And I think the idea is to try and maybe I can figure this out myself.
Dave, I was watching when he was talking, and he was saying transmission, and me and you were thinking the same thing, and you're a transmission guy. First of all, he needs, instead of reading on the Internet and all that, which is good, and worrying about spending $3,000 and $4,000, his first bet would be getting the car diagnosed by someone that knows what they're really looking for. Me and you were both thinking misfire when he said it, and we're probably right, but we don't know because we're as good as the Internet right now. We're a little farther away.
It is true, yeah.
But your money would be best spent by having a good shop check it out and see what's going on. If you think it's transmission, go to Tri-City Transmission. But you should have your car checked by someone that can tell you what it is, and not like the auto parts store reading a code. You need to have it diagnosed. You need to find out if it's transmission or drivability and which one it is. From what your description, it did sound more like drivability to both of us.
But this is my warning to you people listening, is that Mark's pretty much determined for himself that he needs a transmission. So the next thing he does is he goes to the Rolodex or the Internet, and he just goes down a list. How much for a transmission in my Taurus? How much for a transmission in my Taurus? And then he finds the one with the best price or whatever it may be that he's looking for. He goes there, and guess what? He's already told himself he needs a transmission. Guess what? If he's not working with a reputable transmission shop.
He's getting a transmission.
He's getting a transmission, and they're going to go, hey, we're at it. We know your engine's not running very well. So anyhow, I want everybody to pay attention to that. Self-diagnosis is not always the best thing, and you don't want to steer the relationship when you go to the mechanic.
It's best when you don't feel well, you go to the doctor that can help you. And it's best if your car's not running right to go to someone that can tell you what's going on. It might cost you some money. It's good if it costs you money because at least you're getting a good answer that's right. Being just guessing off the Internet you may get rid of the car, you may not fix it, you may be doing more damage by driving it that way. If it's a bad coil and you keep going thinking you're saving on the transmission, you're ruining your catalytic converter at the same time.
For sure. Well, I hope that answers his question on the Ford Taurus. We're going to go with Flo in Gilbert, 2006 Toyota Corolla. How can we help you, Flo? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I just got a quick question. So I've got around 150,000 miles on my 06 Corolla, and I had a friend that actually recommended doing an additive like Techron, and you guys likened it to taking vitamins. Well, I'm not one that takes vitamins. So does that mean... Like, what do you guys gauge to, should I spend the, $4 a bottle or whatever it is on this if I'm not really, my Corolla drives like a 911 Porsche. It runs perfect. Should I spend the money or?
Well, I think.
Especially if I haven't done it for 150,000 miles either, so I haven't been regularly doing this. Something worthwhile?
Yeah, I think Joel's face is pregnant here with thought. Go ahead, Joel.
Well, my tip of the day would be don't waste your money then. Take your money, take your wife out, go do something nice.
Really? A little Techron can't hurt every now and then. It's like mouthwash. It ain't gonna take
it's not going to hurt, but is it going to help anything on your 160,000-mile Corolla? I don't think so.
Well, we talked about top-tier fuels, and top-tier fuels have a lot of that Techron-type additive stuff in there, and so you can get that when you fill up at the pump. So you can use a top-tier gas. Make sure you're doing that. That takes care of some of that.
And that's pretty much all preventative stuff. With 160,000 miles, maybe, I'm not trying to sell you anything, maybe a good fuel injection decarb service would be better spent money, and you do that once. But if you don't need it, you don't need it.
Well, thanks for the call. We're going to go with Tricia in Mirage and an 09 Nissan Murano. I think these people heard that you worked at a Nissan dealership for a long time. How can we help you, Tricia? You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
It's actually a Nissan Versa, but probably my least favorite car ever, and I wanted to get your suggestion on a few things. Me and my dad have always driven Kias our entire life, and they've lasted really, really well. But I bought this Nissan Versa about 2 years ago, and I've had nothing but problems on it. I still owe about $8,000 on it, and I'm upside down, so there's no way of being able to trade it in or anything like that, or sell it because it's about half the value of what it actually I owe on it. So I wasn't sure if I should just, if you think with the cars, if you get a lot of Nissan Versas in, if I should just wait it out until the car kind of goes kaplunk, or if I should spend the almost $4,000 so far in fixing it. Because I've got a rear door actuator that makes a whole lot of noise, the door handle that's coming off, I've got the CV axle's going bad. I've already had to spend money on the trunk. The interior fabric's going bad on the car. It's just nothing but problems going on with this car.
Man, well, I think Tricia, I think you could put a for steel sign in the window, up your insurance first, because you got to have that gap coverage. No, I'm teasing. But door lock actuators, Joel, that's not an uncommon problem on a lot of vehicles. Do you see the Nissan Versa? Should she punt on this car? I mean, she's got to fix the CV axles, but she can work with a door lock not working.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of things have gone wrong. I doubt they all went wrong at once. They probably started accumulating where one door lock actuator goes and you don't get it fixed, then two are bad. Then you start hearing that clicking noise and your axle's bad. Now all of a sudden you need everything. The Versa is a lower end on as far as the cost of the car, and the cost of quality just isn't there as it be on a more expensive car. It's all where you're at. I don't know. Fixing door lock actuators, like Dave said, they don't stop you from running. Axles are important. If you're that upside down financially, you're probably better off just trying to keep it going.
Yeah, nurse it through. It's a 09, 6 years old, so it's got some life in it yet. But the good point there is that when something breaks in your car, go fix it. It's like your house. If you ignore your house and you don't do the regular upkeep on it, pretty soon your neighbors are like, man, HOA needs to get after that guy. Keep it up. It's a little bit of pride of ownership. And a lot of this stuff you mentioned was not completely uncommon. So anyhow, thanks, Bree, for running the dials. Thanks for listening to our show. You can always find a good shop at bumpertobumperradio.com. You can find
Happy
shops.
birthday, Dave.
Yeah, thanks again, Joel. It was real important that you got that. Remember never to text and drive. And from all the shops at Bumper to Bumper Radio, have a great Dave's birthday weekend.
Matt and I share car repair tips weekly to help you keep your car safely on the road, and a few of them are easy to do. Yep, you're right, Dave. And one of the easiest is to have a dependable battery that you can trust to get you started no matter what the conditions. Interstate batteries are what we trust at Bumper to Bumper Radio. In fact, they're what we use at our own shops for our customers. If you're like most people, your car is one of your most valuable investments. Make sure you take care of that investment with the power necessary to get you where you need to be. Interstate batteries are America's #1 replacement brand with the factory fresh guarantee, and they're easy to find at good shops everywhere. Cars or trucks, Interstate has you covered with long life and performance in our harsh desert climates with products like Megatron Plus. It carries a 30-month free replacement and a 6-year performance guarantee. Interstate batteries. No battery lasts longer. Check them out at interstatebatteries.com.
Ho, 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 and happy holidays. Greg Ellis here for the Bunker to Bunker Golf Show, inviting you to celebrate the season at our annual Toys for Tots two-person scramble tournament at the Trilogy Golf Club at Vistancia. Join us on December 5th for golf, prizes, barbecue lunch, and an after-party all for just $98.50 when you bring an unwrapped toy for the kids. Remember, bring a toy and Santa stuffs your stocking with a free round of golf. Don't miss out on our last event of the year. Register at bunkergolf.com.
Summer's winding down, Dave. It's back to school.
Yep. Check out my new Scooby-Doo lunchbox, Matt. Cool, huh?
Yeah, nice, Shaggy. And did you write your What My Car Did for Summer essay?
What? Is that due?
Join us Saturdays, 11 to noon, for Bumper to Bumper Radio on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
And for the best car repair and body shops you can trust, it's bumpertobumperradio.com. Drive in anxious, cruise out feeling fine with Bumper to Bumper Radio.